From fires to flooding. September 1, 2021. I'll show you the flooding that was, well, allegedly caused by Hurricane Ida. But just a summary of what is taking place in Louisiana.
We begin tonight with the latest aftermath of what was once Hurricane Ida. Americans impacted in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, in many cases dealing with no electricity, no water, nor gasoline, while cleaning up what's left of their homes and businesses after Ida swamped the Gulf Coast. Thousands of National Guard soldiers have spent the past 48 hours conducting rescues by air and by boat, some crews going door to door to get people trapped in their homes to safety. Meanwhile, thousands of utility workers on the ground across the southeast working to restore power, and some people may be waiting weeks for electricity to be restored in the midst of stifling summer heat. Another issue, long lines at gas stations in the affected areas. This is video. This was the scene outside Baton Rouge earlier today. The good news, though, experts do say they do not expect a significant increase in gas prices like we've seen after some similar major hurricanes. Now, here's the latest on Ida's aftermath. The storm now blamed for at least 4 deaths after a bridge collapse in Mississippi late last night. Meanwhile, more than 1 million people still without power across Louisiana and Mississippi, although the vast majority of those outages are in Louisiana. That's also where more than 440,000 people are still without running water tonight, thousands more under a boil water order. And the Louisiana National Guard says they've rescued 359 people, more than 50 pets. A News Nation is spread out across the states dealing with Ida's impacts. And we begin tonight with News Nation correspondent Brian Enton. He's in Lafitte, Louisiana for us. Brian.
Well, okay, so some areas of Louisiana got hit much harder than other areas, obviously. How about a cow stuck in a tree?
When one cow is in after high waters from Ida, stranded her in a tree. You can see a couple of men trying their best to free the cow. All the while, it's just there munching on leaves. It's like, hey, this stuff's pretty good. I usually can't reach this stuff.
I know. I was feeling bad for a moment, but, you know, it looks like that cow is having a grand old time just hanging out. Probably feels light as a feather, having the tree support her.
Yeah, you know, it's a good example, you know? Just relax and eat the leaves when you're in a bad predicament.
I was like, what is it a good example of,
Eventually,
Dan?
I don't think that cow feels very relaxed. So, curfew, the mayor ordered all of you in New Orleans, you get inside at 8 p.m. and stay there until 6 a.m. Due to the looting, she also deployed an anti-looting task force with National Guard members to protect business districts. Okay, well, the mess just continues. If any of you don't know or don't understand why we are seeing so much horrendous flooding all over, this is one of the reasons.
Hurricane Ida is a reminder that the water can be just as destructive as the wind.
On the Treasure Coast, it's been more than a year now since flooding rains left one community underwater, and in some cases, homes were unlivable. Tonight, plans for the county to buy some of those homes are moving along.
But as WPTV News Channel 5's John Shaman explains, rising real estate prices have lifted expectations for those looking to sell.
A recent rainy afternoon, not out of the ordinary. But what residents saw here in Martin County's Hope Heights community last year was extraordinary.
Been out of this place for over a year now.
6 months of rain in 10 days in May of 2020 forced Warren Sharp out of his home of 36 years. And soon it might no longer be his.
I wish it didn't happen, but everybody says, why are you moving? I says, I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and step in water.
$4 million in state and federal grants will allow Martin County to buy 13 flood-prone homes that the county could no longer guarantee flood protection to, even if new drainage projects were completed.
Once we purchase the homes, we're going to demolish them, abandon the septic tanks that are there, and then we're going to restore the lots to pre-existing condition, to natural conditions. So we're going to excavate out material and turn them into dry retentions.
At the end of July, initial appraisals were sent.
But the guy told me, says, this is not carved in stone. And when I got the 305, I don't think so.
Sharp says his home is valued several $1,000s more by a number of real estate websites, and a home on the market nearby has an asking price of $370,000. On top of that, Sharp says the county won't reimburse any of his out-of-pocket expenses for housing over the past year.
The FEMA contract is very specific. We can offer the appraised value of the home, and that's the most we can offer.
A county spokeswoman says the initial appraisals did appear to be a little low, and a second round were offered. As for Sharp, he's done, now looking to move north to Brevard.
I want to get it over with. I want to move on.
In Martin County, John Shaman, WP.
Yeah, okay. If you think this is only happening in Florida, you're wrong. It is happening all over the country. In fact, FEMA, 18,000 plus East Baton Rouge Parish homes may need to be razed or sold because of the 2016 floods. So FEMA rules may require more than 18,000. In fact, I looked and I wanted to see if they had sent out the letters. They did. It's 1,750 homeowners. So here, now also understand this is a federal program. It's a FEMA mitigation program. It's the buyout, FEMA buyout, where, well, when man can control the weather, man can actually cause homes to flood. And then they can do it again. They can do it 3, 4, 5 times. Who are you going to sell your home to? FEMA. Because FEMA will be the only buyer. And FEMA dishes out, not what your home is worth, but it's FEMA. FEMA contacts counties, the council's members, and they have their representatives all over the country. After floods, they hold meetings with people, and they say, hey, we can buy your home. You're not going to be able to sell it to anybody else. So this is part of Agenda 2030 and shuffling the population about. So when you hear that a county will be buying homes, they have to put up 25% of the money, taxpayer money, and FEMA covers 75%. The condition? All properties raised. No one will ever build another structure on that property. See how easy it is for them to create these green zones? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have videos on my channel. Check out Agenda 2030, the United Nations plan, which is reshaping the world. And this is how they reshape it. So Livingston Parish leaders told 1,221 residents about the same problem. Now, raise or sell is essentially the options. Raise or sell. But this came 5 years after the 2016 flood. Many of those homeowners, out of their own pocket, because there were a lot of areas in Baton Rouge that were not in the floodplain, and they got flooded out, spent an awful lot of money to repair and renovate their homes, like this couple in Denham Springs, in their 70s, lived there for more than 30 years, were trying to sell their home. which was restored after the 2016 flood. The potential requirement for elevation scared the buyer off. If they had told us in 2016, we would have done something about it. But now they're looking at more costs. How much does it cost to raise a home, to elevate it? Well, it could be anywhere from $40,000 to $250,000. Alrighty. So that cost is quite prohibitive to most Americans today. So the letters finally, that was in May 2021, but the letters didn't go out. They did start to go out in July. So the rules for the U.S. taxpayer subsidized National Flood Insurance Program, established decades ago, require local governments to enforce floodplain rules that help reduce flood risks and the cost to the federal program. And if your local government is not doing that, who pays the price? The homeowners. So a lot of people are not very happy about this. 1,750 homes targeted for the compliance efforts. 300 of those are vacant. Yeah, well, you know, it's going on all over. It has been going on for decades. Loudoun County, Virginia, $3.4 million to aid home buyouts in flood-prone Selma estates. Here, Socrates, I believe that's South Carolina. And here, North Carolina, remove 10 homes. Okay, thank you, FEMA. This is in Illinois, 17. And this is recent. You do a search of FEMA buyouts, you will see how many homes have been bought out by FEMA, raised, no more structures there. And what happens to the people? They have to go where jobs are and where they can live. Many end up in apartments, in those more controlled areas. This in Iowa. More buyout plans. 12 households take buyouts to leave South Bend, which, where is South Bend? I can't remember the Indiana. Here, New Jersey, Blue Acres buyout program. Now, understand, this is taxpayer money. Many people paying that are not flooded out, don't have anything to do with the buyouts, but you're paying for FEMA to buy other homes. Blue Acres buyout program. Well, what is it? It's a program funded by federal sources like FEMA and HUD. And Superstorm Sandy, 365,000 homes were damaged or destroyed. But I also have videos on, I think it's Never Lose Truth 1, the FEMA scam on the FEMA buyout program. The Red Cross, I've got to post those videos on, the corruption of Red Cross. Look, that's another thing. I do believe that Americans really have understood that we get screwed all the time, but we kneel over and take it. And Jacksonville, Florida, more homes being demolished, raised for green zones. All right. Gas. There's a whole lot of shortages in Louisiana, but those shortages are going to filter out unless they can get those gas and oil rigs or the production up again.
There's nothing open and all the way through Baton Rouge, and we were lucky to find this, so we just jumped off the exit, and here we are. We're in line. I'm next. That's good. My buddy's getting his gas over there, and then we'll be on our way. No one has electricity in New Orleans, Metairie, outlying areas. A lot of trees down.
Trees down everywhere.
Roofs
flooding.
off houses, off gas stations.
Completely horrible. Power lines down on the road.
Yep.
Like, just too much for even like our local law enforcement to even like deal with. We're hoping that as the further we got away from our settlement, like the better it'll be with finding gas, and it's actually been worse.
Yeah, I heard from a subscriber.
Trees down
a subscriber who lives in Baton Rouge, who said there were so many trees down. So many trees. I think she said her electricity was restored, but I can't really remember. Now, D.C. residents. Hurricane Ida. Yeah. Okay. For most of my life, certainly up until the recent years, living in New York, living in Massachusetts, never did we experience remnants of hurricanes that hit Louisiana, Texas, in the Gulf. We didn't have hurricanes that developed off the coast of South Carolina, North Carolina. Oh, but now we do. I guess that's climate change. Climate change has had quite the impact. Even steers hurricanes, or, okay, a hurricane here. Oh, how about off the coast of Mexico? Yeah, that's a new development. It's all brought about by climate change. Wow, nobody even thinks. But now these hurricanes, well, they don't seem to level out when they make landfall anymore. Now they just go on and on forever. The destructive impact of Ida up north, D.C.
Pretty much every time there's any significant rain, yeah, we usually get flooding. It's pretty bad. Hopefully it's not too bad, but that's why we're here, trying to prepare for the worst.
Prepare for the worst. I may play out this whole 7-minute breaking news story. This happened in D.C., in a suburb. Hundreds of residents now displaced. Okay, check out what happened.
Is the time right now. We continue to follow some breaking news out of Montgomery County this morning, where 2 people were unaccounted for after overnight storms flooded an apartment building, and it's not the only building. Fox 5's Bob Barnett live in Rockville this morning with an unfortunate update. Bob, what's the story here?
Yeah, Wisdom, not officially released, but we understand one body has been found here in the floodwaters at Rock Creek Woods apartment community. This is off Twin Brook Parkway in Rockville. And take a look behind me. You still see there is quite a bit of standing water here still, muddy water. And that's where the body was found earlier. If you come in, and the guy's about to walk around the building, you can see that he just got out of view there. But there have been people in the water here looking for a drain to drain this water. And in that process, we understand a man was found dead in the water. We had been told earlier by Montgomery County Fire and Rescue that 2 people were unaccounted for in these floodwaters. And to show you how high it got, look at the side of the wall here. I don't know if you can see on TV as well as I can with my eye, but the stain on the brick there shows how high this water was, including over these ground floor apartment windows. And experiencing that overnight was Rosa Walters. She lives on the other end of the building. Rosa, you've told me before going on what that was like. Tell me about that ordeal for you overnight.
Oh my God. I feel I'm gonna die that time. The water's all the way here. Me and my daughter just waiting for somebody come and rescue us. And we lost everything, but thank God we're still alive. That's the most important. And so the firefighters broke the window, and that's how we come out. And they bring this with life support. And
like a life vest was put on you?
Yes, because the water is so high. And my daughter too, and my granddaughter. But thank God we're alive. We lost everything.
So you don't even have your purse, car keys?
Nothing.
These are friends' clothes that they've given you. You were soaking
clothes,
wet.
Yes.
And you say that you were able. They kind of carried you out, but your daughter got into one of the boats. Is that right?
Yeah, they take her in a boat because that's how they rescue the other people. But
through these waters here. Oh my goodness.
Look, I mean, the water almost just a little to breathe, you know.
Well, Rosa, we're glad you're okay. Sorry, very sorry, but thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Rosa. And this is one place, guys, and it's still lingering here. 150 people displaced, 60 apartments, because the 12 ground floor apartments were flooded out, but they've had to turn off the power and the electric and gas to the rest. So 150 people have been displaced. This here is Rock Creek Woods apartment community. I do want to show you some video from earlier this morning. We were over at Congressional Towers, which is on the other side of Rockville Pike, where the same thing happened. A utility door was the entry point for the floodwaters. The door was literally caved in by the power of that floodwater, and it pushed through a wall and flooded the ground floor apartments where Montgomery County Fire and EMS had to make, we're told, 20 rescues at that place alone. A second place where a number of families have had to evacuate and find new places to stay indefinitely. Here at this scene earlier, we had a chance to speak with Mark Elrich, who is the county executive, who was on hand to take a look with his own eyes what he saw here.
I've never seen anything like that here. It's just amazing, and they're trying to figure out where the water came from. Because it didn't, you can tell by the debris here in the mud that it came from this direction. So what would have triggered it? There's obviously no drainage back here. We've had rain before. We've had hurricanes before. It's not like this is a normal thing. It's just stunning.
And the video you see here now is with the fire crews in the water trying to find the drain to kind of let this water to leave this area. And that's when they found this one of two victims who was unaccounted for. And again, we believe in the waters here they have found one person, Wisdom, a man not identified. And this was what we were not expecting to be a big deal, right? I mean, we all heard it probably, the thunder, and saw the lightning in the middle of the night, 3 or 4 o'clock hour here in Montgomery County. We were more bracing for what was coming later today, and obviously already the impacts of Ida are being felt by dozens of people and families here in the Rockville area, many of whom, because of what you see behind me here, have to find new places to live. It's pretty dramatic and sad.
I know it's early, Bob, but do you have an idea? I mean, where are all those people going? Or I know that everyone that was watching her talk to you, their hearts were breaking for her. What can people do to help these people?
Well, you see across the way here is another building that, did not get flooded. We've seen some people bringing their belongings to their neighbors' homes. Other people, like Rosa says, they're waiting for the Red Cross. And the Red Cross hasn't arrived yet, but the Red Cross, we are told, is coming and will help find at least some temporary homes for these people. They are setting up a shelter near here, but long term these people are going to need hotel or motel rooms, and that's to come with the Red Cross, not only here at Rock Creek Woods but also over at Congressional Towers. We're told the Red Cross is going to step in. Other people said they're moving in with neighbors, but in this building over here, the one that got flooded, unfortunately, even the upstairs apartments, though not suffering any water damage, have no power, have no gas, and everybody's going to have to leave. and find somewhere else to go. And many of their neighbors have too many people in their homes to take more people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Really quick, Bob, have you seen anyone there on behalf of the apartment complex or the property out there assisting the first responders and perhaps helping them to find that storm drain?
Well, yes. I mean, there were people kind of pointing to, hey, I think the storm drain is at the far end of the property, and that's where they were looking, and frankly, that's where they found the one victim who drowned here. So, yes, the apartment community was helping. It was transportation services as well as fire and rescue find that drain, and then there was an apartment manager here who was being assisted with a translator telling everybody in a big group earlier that, hey, the Red Cross is coming. We will find places for you to live if you have.
Bullshit. The Red Cross is not going to be finding places for these people to live. Where'd the water come from? Everybody seems very, very surprised. Where did the water come from? Oh, man.
Of the devastation continues, this time in the town of Hurley, Virginia, where tonight 4 people are missing, more than 20 houses destroyed due to floodwaters. News Nation's Kelly Grossfield from our station WJHL has an update on resources heading that way.
Just a few homes remain here in Hurley, Virginia. A lot of them pulled from the foundation. Officials tell us more than 20 homes have been destroyed, with about 40 to 50 evacuations happening between yesterday and this morning. It's just devastating. They say they saw tremendous flooding like this back in 2002, but this is just something they've never seen before. Law enforcement workers who have been in the business for decades say it is devastating working over here. There are delegates and local lawmakers on the ground seeing the damage for themselves, pushing for that federal funding.
We want to assure those who have been affected that we're going to make certain that every resource available locally, at the state level and at the federal level is made available. And that's why we're all here today.
And I don't think they'll be able to get any help, not when it's only 20 homes. I'm not sure what the number is that FEMA, decides, okay, we'll assist you. But it's the scale of the flood, meaning how many homes were destroyed. So this is in a whole other area, but it's kind of like a very small mini Waverly, Tennessee, listening to this woman talking about homes that were literally just lifted off their foundation. Well, that's a force of water. And this is from a hurricane that hit Louisiana, up now in Virginia, doing this kind of destruction. Something else is happening, don't you think? Pittsburgh.
Bess works nearby, and he says this area also flooded back in 2019.
It's worse today than it was 2 years ago.
Near the intersection of Pine Creek and McKnight Road, cars turning around and some needing a tow. Close by, Brandon Schweiger standing at the top of his driveway. His home surrounded by water. He says there's about a foot inside the house, 3 feet in the garage.
A little more came than we expected. I mean, there's still more to come, but we're working on that.
Tonight, water getting pumped out and homemade floodgates guarding the garage. His wife and child not home when the flooding started. He says this is the 15th time in 3 years water from Pine Creek has flooded his home. They have flood insurance and have asked the township to step in.
We've reached out to our township. It's basically just passing the buck.
We did reach out to McCandless Public Works, and people told us today that they haven't seen flooding like this in years. And some say that they're going to be going out to buy sandbags to stop water from getting in their homes and businesses.
Now it's like a very common practice, to have sandbags wherever you are in this country, and how often do we see areas, okay, let's fill up those bags with sand, and all people need to do is just a little bit of research on weather modification and how man is controlling this, and to bring about a whole lot of destruction. Western North Carolina, again,
Here to Canton a little after 6:30 this evening. So far, we've had a light but steady rain that's falling. Nothing that's causing major concern for Haywood County officials, but you can see right here behind me, they still have that checkpoint set up that went up exactly 2 weeks ago, only allowing local residents into that heavily damaged area from Tropical Storm Fred. Now, those I spoke with here today say that even though they're still cleaning up that destruction and devastation, their faith and commitment to one another remains strong.
Community sticking together.
Cleanup continues in Haywood County after Tropical Storm Fred brought devastating flooding to this mountain community and killed 6 people. Just 2 weeks later, the same community bracing for the possibility of impact of what remains of Hurricane Ida.
Everybody's helping everybody out. If you can. If you can't, you can pray, and that helps too.
For immediate help, Haywood County officials have set up emergency shelter for the duration of the storm at Tuscola High School.
And we have a lot of folks who are maybe not displaced from the first one, but having enough damage to their property that they might need to seek shelter tonight.
Such a short time later for more weather impacts is tough on this community.
Of course. Of course. Monsoons haven't stopped in Arizona, and so many homes were destroyed within the last couple of weeks of their monsoon rains, and now they get more rain and more rain. This in can't remember what state. Pennsylvania.
We want to get to these absolutely incredible images right now. These are students being rescued from a school bus that is stuck in the high water. This is in Shaler. This is CV Road. Lisa Reinhardt sharing these incredible pictures and this video. Look at this. Now, we've learned that all the kids are safe, thankfully, but as you saw, the rescue boats had to be brought to that bus to get those children out the back through the emergency door. We are going to have much more on this developing story, certainly through the morning and certainly throughout the day.
Pittsburgh area.
There is massive flooding here in Oakdale. I'm sitting on the main road. This is Noblestown Road at the corner of Union Avenue, but I want to show you what's going on right now. Take a look behind me. This just looks like a river, but it's not. It's Noblestown Road. Several businesses are now underwater, and firefighters are actually blocking the street, trying to detour drivers. You can see that fire truck right there. People have been gathering around this funeral home all morning long. Now, I spoke with an Oakdale Public Works supervisor who tells me a building that houses a fire department and police station is now flooded. He says Noblestown Road has several businesses along it, and people are trying to save what they can. People are walking through that water to get inside of the buildings. Now, we talked with 2 business owners who say they just opened up a salon and a boutique 4 months ago, and now they're watching their hard work being washed away in the middle of a pandemic.
Unbelievable. And there's nothing you can do, just stand and watch. This is the main road through this town. We are new to this community, so we've only been here for about 4 months, so we're just kind of getting acclimated with the neighbors. The neighborhood's wonderful. They've been great with everything, so I assume that when the time comes, everybody will pull together and it'll be good as new again.
Now, Noblestown Road behind me isn't the only issue here. While driving around the area, we noticed that several homes were near rising waters, as well as a personal care home. And let me show you this right now. This is a creek that's right near Noblestown Road. You could see that the water is high, and it just keeps continue to rise.
And I saw a broadcast that said a creek rose 14 feet in a matter of hours. Wow. Red Cross. What are they doing to help people affected? In Waverly, Tennessee, they're handing out food. The reason why I included this was I've got to find my Red Cross corruption videos, because very often they do their PR videos, send it out, and they actually don't deliver all that many meals. I mean, Sandy, Red Cross, it was so disgusting what they were doing. They weren't helping anybody, but they were putting out a lot of these videos. Okay. I'm not going to, post very many links on the flooding. All you have to do is a simple search on YouTube, flooding. Then filter it out for today. And you will see a whole lot more than I've showed you. Massive destruction taking place. Unfortunately, we have an awful lot of people who are just not using their common sense and clearly don't remember what life used to be like. With hurricanes. They didn't travel thousands of miles.